What's going on, guys? This is Rohan Ramchandani, and welcome back to the Realtors Chat Show with Rohan. Welcome to the sixth episode of this season, and today we have Javon back with us. He was the one who made me start this show on the first episode, which we did in the first week of March. And today, on the sixth episode, I'm so glad that Javon is back. So, this episode, we just decided during the last episode itself that we have to make one dedicated episode for the wholesale real estate. And Javon is one of the most experienced wholesalers in real estate across America. He being from Houston, Texas, he knows a lot about the wholesale real estate. And even I want to learn a lot about wholesale real estate as a learner. So I have made a few list of questions so that everyone can learn. So welcome back, Javon. How's it going?
Glad to be back, and I hope that I give you the best tools to help these wholesalers out here, man.
Yeah, let's do it. So with that in mind, I had this basic question, like all the realtors who are just starting out, or the people who don't know much about wholesaling. So what is exactly wholesaling and real estate?
So wholesaling, I mean, when it is simply getting a property under contract, let's say for 50,000, and you're finding an investor because as a wholesaler, you don't have 50,000 to buy the property, but you do know somebody who's an investor who will buy it for 60,000, and you will then assign that contract to your buyer for 60,000, and as a wholesaler, you make an assignment fee, and that's the difference between what you get it for and what you sell it, which is the 10,000. So you get an assignment fee of 10,000 on a deal, and that is how a wholesaler would typically. That is what it is.
Oh wow, that's a lot of money, I guess.
I mean, it's a lot of money. Starting off, you definitely, when you first get into real estate, if you don't have a lot of capital, wholesaling is the way to go.
Okay, so any realtor or any college student, like you started out in the college itself, as you mentioned in the last episode. So what if I'm a college student right now in the US right now, and if I want to start today, so how can I begin in the wholesaling? How to start?
Oh, so first things first is know what area you want to target. So you want to know if in Houston, for example, certain zip codes are hotter than others. So you want to buy some leads. Leads meaning you bought some information that has the property's name, the homeowner's address, how much the property's worth, their phone number, and their email, so that you can contact them via cold calling, text message, or email, and see if they're interested in selling. So if you're just starting off, you can start at 18. I mean, it doesn't have to, you could jump out of it right out of high school. And first things first is to just get some leads. If you're not doing that, if you can't afford that, I would say start driving for dollars. You put $20 in your tank, driving around the worst neighborhood in your town, driving around the worst parts of town and cities and areas where there's abandoned properties. Get those addresses written down, get somewhere online like white pages, and find the contact information and try to reach out and get you a phone, get you a deal under contract.
Wow. So it means like it's all about the contacts and the connections you make, the networking. So the more people who are investors or the people who are looking to sell, the more people know you during the start, you're gonna win. Your chances of winning are actually increasing with your network.
Yeah, you got to network with other wholesalers. You got to network with investors, because you want to build a buyer's list, and that buyer's list is what's going to help you sell properties faster. And so that's going to make sure that you have everything that you need to get a contract, under contract, and sold. So networking is very important.
I completely agree with it wholeheartedly. And so right now, if someone is looking to this episode or listening to this episode, all those people have made those notes that they all need leads and they have to make those cold calls or look for properties. So what kind of houses or properties they should look forward to in the beginning, or maybe in wholesaling, that kind of property might be a stereotype that this kind of property must be targeted more often than others. So yeah, that's my
You
question.
just out the gate, like how you said, what kind of properties are you looking for? What should you be looking for? You want to look for something that is abandoned. And what is abandoned? I mean, there's boarded up windows. The grass hasn't been cut for months. The
Yeah.
mailbox is full. The roof is looking like it's old. It looks like it hasn't had no life put in it in years. Those are the typical properties that you want to find when you're starting off, because more than likely that owner doesn't live in the state, or the previous owner passed away and the kids got it and they don't know what to do with it. So that's are the type of properties you want to look for when you talk about abandoned, distressed properties to start off.
Wow. That's a kind of golden nugget you just dropped in right now for the
Yeah.
people. So all
I'm
these, so these pieces of knowledge actually save a lot of time for the people who are starting out. And so, can you give an example of any deal which you just made when you started out, or your favorite deal, one of your favorite deals that you did in wholesaling?
So I remember it was a deal that I had got from a hard money lending company by the name of Jet Lending, and they had the deal at. They told me I can get it under contract at 69,000, and it was in Third Ward in Houston, which is a hot area, and it was a tricky property because the property had water damage to it due to Hurricane Harvey. Right after Hurricane Harvey, this was, and so my investors that I did have for it, some of them was kind of turned away from it. They didn't want it, so uh, I had it under contract, and literally 3 days later, I had put it on Craigslist. I don't know what made me want to do it, but I put it on Craigslist, and I had a buyer reach out to me, and I was like, you can't trust too much on Craigslist, but we met at the property. He checked it out, and I ended up selling it for 75,000. So I made a $6,000 assignment fee there, and it was one of the, you know, strangest but coolest deals that I did at that time.
Wow, that's a crazy story, man. So through
Yeah.
Craigslist also, like even in 2021, so is it a chance if someone is putting up on the Craigslist?
Yeah, I think Craigslist will never go away. It's like a big marketing platform, and people get on it. Investors get on it more often than what you would think or imagine.
Yeah, exactly. So in real estate, in normal residential real estate, the people who do it with licenses, so even like wholesaling has its own license, or like anyone can do it?
Anyone can do it. That's the beauties of it all. I mean, like, long as you are doing it professional, shall I say, even though you don't need a license to do it, it should still be carried out in a professional way. You don't want to waste sellers' times. You don't want to waste buyers' times. If you got a property that you don't have under contract, you shouldn't be sending that out to investors, because you are going to potentially waste their time if they come out there and make an offer and you can't get the property under contract. Or even with sellers, vice versa. Like, you don't want to put a property under contract and then you tell a seller, well, I got to go down the extra 30,000. I told you 100, but now I can only pay 60,000 because your investors say, oh, this property is a bad deal. And so you really want to make sure when you're doing this that you're doing accurate repair costs, accurate comp analysis, and little stuff like that, and to make sure that you don't waste anybody's time.
Exactly, man. Time is money.
Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody knows that concept, because I mean, especially in the game of real estate right now, low inventory,
Yeah.
high demand. And so a lot of deals that you get right now, they're gone within a week. And so
Yeah.
you have to be conscious and aware of the deals that you put out there.
With around 10 to 15% above the asking price. All the real
Yeah, yeah.
you're working
I
with,
mean,
they're like, we just send them one listing appointment. They just got converted into a contract within 10 days, and that deal was closed within 7 more days. 10%
yeah,
above. Yeah.
it's been as high as 50% from what I've seen. In some
Wow.
places, especially in Texas, in the Austin area, I've seen properties go well above asking price.
My God. Because the market is screaming for the inventory.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
So, I had a very interesting question with the assignment fee, which you mentioned. So, why is it called assignment fee instead of commission?
It's called assignment fee because you're assigning your interest in the property.
Okay.
And your interest in the property is that you got it under contract for 50,000 and they're accepting it at 60,000. So your assignment interest there is the 10,000 difference.
Oh, for assigning that interest. Wow, that's interesting. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, what is the normal typical assignment fee which you have seen in your career till now?
I would say in this point right now, a basic assignment fee is 5 to 10,000.
Okay. So,
Right now, I mean, to be honest, 10,000 is a good assignment fee. That is something that is a typical number that you're seeing right now due to the low inventory. So the wholesalers out there that are getting deals, they're making at least 10,000.
oh wow, $10,000. It's a good deal. So this assignment fee of $5 to $10,000. This has been this same number since past so many years, or like it has like dropped right now. So what was the
Uh,
trend?
it used to be, back then you would be satisfied with 2, 3,000. Then the norm became 5,000 years ago. And right now it's then got to the point where now it's 10,000 shouldn't be an issue for an investor. So the numbers are steadily increasing.
Okay. So it's completely dealing with those distressed properties and not those normal properties which you mentioned. Oh,
Yeah, nothing retail.
distressed. Yeah. Even in India, we have seen all the distressed properties, all the banks trying to like sell that property which was used for the mortgage. The person failed to repay the loan, maybe because of any reason the business failed or something. So the banks are actually listing that property. And even I get a lot of messages from the bank people or the financial institution people who are there in my network in India. So they are like, we have this property, like 10 lakh rupees. In Indian rupees, it's like 100,000 rupees means 1 lakh. So it's like 10 lakh, 1 million rupees lower than the actual rate. Sometimes it's even 5 million Indian rupees lower than the actual rate. So we are like, oh man, it's a great deal.
Yeah, yeah. I actually did a deal like that too as well. You can wholesale deals like that. It's called subject to.
Mhm.
And so typically it'll be if, let's say, the owner owes $100,000 mortgage on the property, and they want to sell the property, but let's say if the property is only worth 140 or so, and you don't want to just buy it from them at 100 because then they're making nothing. But what you can do is say, hey, I know your payments are 1,500 a month, and I know that you are wanting to sell. I know you're looking at it. You want about, let's say, $20,000. Let's just say, for example, and how about I do this? How about I take over your existing mortgage of 1,500 a month, and I just pay you 20,000 right now, and you sign the deed over. And so those deals right there is an assignment fee. Because let's say they want 20,000, and if a wholesaler like yourself, you might not have 20,000. But let's say if you tell an investor, hey, for 40,000, the property's worth 140, so you could buy it at 40,000 right now. Take over an existing mortgage at 1,500 a month, and you owe $100,000 balance on the property. they already coming in with a 40K equity in there, even though they spent 40K up front. So now you pay the property owner 20,000, and you have 20,000 in your pocket, just like that.
Wow, that's like a great money making strategy.
I mean, if you really build your system and you utilize it, keep reinvesting into it, it pays out tremendously.
Oh, wow. So you're talking about some marketing system or operating systems?
Yeah, you got to have CRM.
Mm.
I mean, there's a lot of places that do it. There's like Mojo, who does Dollar, and you
Yeah.
have websites like PopStream, Propelia, where you're able to see how much a property is worth without having a real estate license, as well as they do offer skip tracing on those sites. So if you want to find a number on them, you can pay for those services, and they'll help you find a number so you can call, text, things like that. And so those are kind of some systems you need if you want to really ramp up your wholesaling team and really grow and get a lot of deals closed.
Oh, wow. So a very successful wholesaler, like you're one of the most successful wholesalers I know, and I'm very, very proud to say that.
I'm glad. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in almost 30 states now. We wholesale across America. I have investors internationally and domestically, and yeah, we're going to be in all 50 states eventually.
Oh,
So
wow. Indeed.
definitely, yeah,
For
yeah,
sure,
definitely.
man. So, what's your team size? Like, how many people you have in your team?
Right now we have 20 plus, and steadily growing.
Wow, man. Awesome. 20 people, 20 plus people. That's impressive. So,
Yeah.
like, so when you just started out, you might be having only yourself, and you have grown till 20 plus people as a team. And how many deals you're doing, like in wholesaling, on average every single month right now?
It can range from, typically lowest, 3 to 5 deals. And each deal, the profit is, no lower than 5K. And so you steadily keep growing right there. So that's where our basic number is right now. And we're steadily trying to increase that target every month.
That's impressive, Siobhan. Awesome. So a lot of marketing might be required to keep that number steadily at 3 to 5 deals. So what's your marketing strategy when it comes to wholesaling?
So when it comes to wholesaling, your marketing is the calling, the cold calling, the texting, the emails. You have to be on the dollars all day. You got to be texting all day. You got to be driving around town to properties all day. So there's all different avenues, but that's what you got to do to get a deal from a seller.
Exactly. A lot of back and forth and those conversations, a lot of hustle is required in
A
order to
lot of
become.
hustle.
Hmm.
It's not. I would say wholesaling is fun when you're successful, but for those who trying to do it for just a get rich quick scheme, or just thinking it's the quick buck here, it's definitely not going to be easy for you, because you have to do a lot of negotiating. You have to have a lot of social skills, but as well as you have to know it's not going to pay out right away, especially in this type of market that we're in now, because it's a buyer's market, and it's not. I mean, it's a seller's market because there's such few sellers and they're selling for such high prices. There's not a lot of good wholesale deals, but the ones that are getting wholesale deals are being very successful right now.
So as you mentioned, right now it's not a get rich quick scheme. So if some agent is starting out in 2021, so how long like he should expect that I'll become successful with at least 1 to 2 deals consistently every single month? How long does it take on average?
I mean, it varies. I'll say it takes a couple months, to really start to um, really get the groove of it. I mean, for some people, it's faster than others because, let's say, if you have somebody that selling the property, of course, then they give you referrals. So referrals make the work a little bit easier. But if you're just starting off, you have no knowledge, you have no referrals, you have absolutely even no capital to start, and you have to drive for dollars. It could take months, or it could take weeks, and it's all about luck. Is a part of it too. You can't exclude that out sometimes.
That's a part of the process.
Yeah, exactly. You're just showing up every day trying to get some deals, driving around, talking to people, telling them, and maybe in Starbucks, hey man, if you got a deal and you're looking to sell your property, you can refer it to me. And so, doing that along the way and just being ready, prepared to offer on the property, that's how deals start to come about.
Yeah, it's all about dedication, persistence, and yeah, social skills, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, sure.
So, as you mentioned, the marketing strategy is majorly cold calling and driving around. Like whenever I call you, Javon, you are driving somewhere in the car, or you say I'm in a meeting. So I could sense it that it's a lot of hard work and a lot of people you have to meet every single day. Investors, sellers. Daily, you're doing meetings, traveling from investor to the seller, seller to the investor. It's a lot of
It,
driving.
it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time, and I'm glad that you said that, because that is a typical life of anybody in real estate who are uh, looking to grow and really make a generational wealth in this, and really make that passive income, whatever your end
Mhm.
goal may be. But if you really want to be in the game, you're going to be in the car a lot, like you said, talking to people a lot, and definitely having to do a lot of negotiation, and just always having to, show up. Essentially, it doesn't matter where it's at, in a meeting, in a property, with the seller, buyer contract, but a lot of it is just showing up. That's a big part of the game.
Hmm. I agree, man. So I had this question, like finding buyers is difficult, like finding investors is difficult, or finding sellers is difficult in wholesaling.
Typically finding it'd be, if you had to choose one or the other, I would say finding sellers in today's market right now, because of the low inventory. Uh, Typically, it all depends on what the market trend is at that moment. In some states and some cities, there's more properties than there are buyers. And so,
Hmm.
specifically with the Houston market, when you talk about which one is harder to find, it would be sellers, because buyers right now, they're coming out to the property and locking up the contract within a couple of days, 7 days at max, if it's a good deal.
Hmm. These days, no one is like looking to sell, and even if someone is showing some interest, that kind of person is like they are ready to take action. That's why, and also they are having so many buyers to choose from, and
Yeah,
they
and they
can.
don't have to take the lowest offer like you would have done, a couple years ago. You're going with the highest and best offer, and they're paying over, retail.
Exactly. So maybe it feels like sometimes, like we dream of that. If we could be the sellers in today's market, like we were like celebrities.
Yeah, like, I mean, you're a high pick, because typically in wholesaling, you're gonna go by the 70% rule. And a 70% rule basically is saying, like, if a property is worth 100,000, and you want to get it 70% of that value of it, and so 100,000, 70% of that is 70,000. So you want to get it for 70,000, and that's not including. Let's just say if it needs repairs, and let's say it needs 20,000 in repairs, then you got to subtract that from that 70,000, and so that's 50,000. What you should offer the homeowner if you're a wholesaler. And typically right now, buyers are paying, 80% value for the property, up to. And so let's say if you got a property for 50,000, you locked it up in repairs, they're typically paying around that 60,000 mark. And there you go, you get to a $10,000 signing fee.
Wow, man, that's a lot of math. And yeah, doing that math and negotiating
Yeah,
using.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of math, a lot of crunching the numbers. I went to school for economics, so
Okay.
that
Yeah.
definitely made it a little bit easier. But if you're going to be in real estate, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to get comfortable with a lot of numbers and making sure that they all add up and they're accurate. Because when you don't make accurate numbers, like I said earlier, then you're wasting sellers' time, you're wasting buyers' time because
Mm.
you're not doing your job professionally and giving accurate estimates.
Wow, man. That's awesome. So right now, for example, a property is of 50,000 and you want to make at least an assignment fee of 5,000. So you will be saying that this property is 55,000 to the investor, right? So what if that investor says, oh, 55,000 is a lot. So are you charging a lot of assignment fee? Please lower that assignment fee. What's that 5,000 is all about? I should pay only a couple of thousand. So how to handle that kind of negotiation? That's curious.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If an investor told me, hey, that 5,000 was too much for me, Javon, and I don't believe you deserve it. And when you hear that, your answer back is, if if you was in my shoes, if you spent time marketing, driving around, emailing, calling, doing a negotiation, and all of the legwork just to see you come out here for 30 minutes with your contractor and say this is how much it's worth and this is what I'll pay for it, that's almost an insult to me, because you 99% chance wouldn't have done the cold calling, emailing, negotiation, and saying, "Hey, I got this cash and I'm ready to buy it." And so that fee that you're paying is essentially paying for all of that due diligence and all of the legwork before it even got to you, and you're able to make this quick decision based off my work. And so for those investors out there that do that, those are the ones you try to avoid and try not to work with, because at the end of the day, as a wholesaler, you're the key to it all. You're the middleman. You bring the seller and the buyer together, and that shouldn't be taken for granted.
Exactly. But you might be having those experiences in the past where the clients were like, no, you don't deserve it. So you might be having some experiences in the past, or like you just imagined this can be an experience for me.
Yeah, no, that can be an experience. I haven't had anybody, do something like that to me, because like I said, you gotta crunch your numbers in and give them the right numbers to off back, so that way you won't have to deal with the renegotiation and not wanting to pay. You definitely want to make sure that you kind of cut that down as much as you can, or try to avoid it as much as you can by doing your job the best you can.
That makes complete sense, Yvonne. And before wrapping up, I had this last question. I actually did some research and I got to know a couple of common terms in wholesaling, which is signing and double closing. So, could you just throw some light over those terms? Like, what's the major difference between signing and double closing?
Yeah, so assigning a property would be at closing. You're all on one HUD statement, and so your seller can know how much you're assigning it for, and your buyer can see how much you got the property for. And so, and it goes back to what we was just talking about. Like they say, "Hey, you're making 10,000 on this deal. I don't feel you deserve that." All of a sudden, now that they see how much they're paying you, and some of them back out. I've heard stories like that. Versus that's a signing. And so versus double closing, that would be, well, you are getting a transactional lender, somebody to fund you. If the property's worth 50,000, they're gonna pay 50,000 under your name or LLC, which you have typically a LLC. They're gonna give you the money to buy it at 50,000, and you're gonna sell it to your investors same day at 60,000. And so you're gonna make that 10,000 assignment fee. But in this case scenario, they bought it from you. So I bought a property from Bob. Bob, I got the contract from Bob under contract at 50. thousand, and I have a transactional lender, that's going to help me close it at 50,000. The same day I have an investor buying it, and so when that investor comes and pick it up, it's going to say he bought it from Javon Moses and not from Bob, the original seller whose name's on the deed that day. And the beauties of it is simply because you don't figure, the buyer doesn't know how much you're selling it for and how much you got it for, and your seller doesn't know how much you're selling it to your buyer for, and so it gives you a lot of security.
Wow, that's really, really awesome. And the second method which you mentioned, the double closing, that's what I am really interested in after listening more about it. And like, is that as easy as it sounds? Like the transactional lender and all those things?
I mean, long as you have a to B and a B to C contract, so you can't get it is if you don't have both sides already completed. So the typical lenders that do those type of transactional funding, they want to see you already have the seller under contract and the buyer under contract, because they're going to do it the same day, because they're not going to just lend you $100,000 knowing that you wouldn't get approved for that any other day. But if they know, hey, he's getting it for $100,000 at 10 a.m., we're buying it, and at 12 p.m. At noon, he's selling it for 120. They know, okay, I can do deals like that to guarantee their money as well. And they typically charge 1%, 2% for the deal. So how do these transactional lenders make their money? If it's $100,000 purchase price, they'll typically charge you $1,000 to get it done, or $2,000 to get it done.
Oh wow, that's around 1 to 2%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1 or 2%.
Everybody are making money.
Yeah, everybody. That's why I love real estate.
Yeah, even me. So I actually looked for some properties in the Dubai, in the Burj Khalifa, and I sent you that image, right? That day, one is in the Burj Khalifa and one is in the Palm Jumeirah. It's a man-made island in Dubai. So that's one of the most luxurious real estate I have ever seen in the world. So let's travel over there someday and let's buy something together.
I mean, that's the goal to own real estate in all 7 continents. And we're gonna own something in Dubai, man. We're gonna have a good time and have us a nice high rise and enjoy it.
Definitely, man, definitely. Even in Mumbai, one of the most expensive real estate in the world, like top 15 in Mumbai, it's very, very expensive now. People don't have homes.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's why wholesaling, I believe, is good internationally. It's good anywhere. I definitely want to expand, and it's a lot of markets out there in the world. America is just the first one, but it's so many other markets to touch in the world, because you're just the middleman essentially. And that's trades, and wholesaling is done in every industry, and so it's finally really being taken more serious in the real estate game, and so that's a good thing.
Indeed, brother. Yeah, I completely agree with you. So you were saying something.
Oh, nothing.
So it was a great episode, I think. What do you think?
Oh yeah, man. I feel like I said everything and got all the points across to help them. If they're really trying to get into wholesaling, I feel like it was good for them.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the main purpose of this podcast, to support the realtors community. Maybe they're the licensed real estate agents or the wholesalers. So I have got one more segment of audience from today, the wholesalers. So you froze for a second. Yeah. So I'll be attaching Javon's social media links at the bottom of this video. You there?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter. Follow me.
Yeah.
Follow me on Twitter, y'all. Follow me on Instagram. Yeah, put it in the bio.
Yeah, I'll just put it in the bio and the description of the video, and also in the podcast description on Spotify and Apple. It was so good to have you again, and let's do it one
Second.
more time, like many more times in future.
Nah, definitely. I love being on here every time, man. You always ask the right questions, and feel like I always can give back every time I get on here.
Awesome, Javon. So, Javon, it was a great time with you. Enjoy, everyone. Please take care of COVID and take your vaccination shots as soon as possible.
Yes.